Good afternoon, everyone. It's May 20th, 2019. I'm Eric. I'm here at shtfplan.com. Millions of Americans are on the edge, one paycheck away from financial disaster. We cover this topic quite a bit, and each time the effect has spread further and further. And it's going to get really, really bad here in the next few months as far as the economy goes. A lot of people want to believe that somehow Donald Trump and the Federal Reserve and the Treasury will somehow make it better, but I don't think that this is possible at this point. So, for nearly half of people in the workforce, financial disaster would occur from missing one paycheck. Just one. But people, they are still living above their means, using credit cards to buy clothes and shoes and this kind of thing. If the worst happens and they lose their job, many would fall back on dangerous options to make ends meet instead of cutting back their lifestyle. Nobody wants to cut back, do they? When I lost all my money from the cops and all that shit, that was the hardest thing it was worse than going through any kind of withdrawal. Going from having lots of money to not having any or very little is a very, very painful process. Very painful. According to MarketWatch, a new study from NORC at the University of Chicago, an independent social research institution, found that 51% of working adults in the United States would need to access savings to cover necessities if they miss more than one paycheck. And this is especially detrimental because not all Americans even have a savings account. Well, we don't have one, but I do have gold and silver coins and some other stuff, so I probably would be okay. Previous research from the Federal Reserve found that 4 in 10 Americans couldn't afford a $400 emergency. You remember I covered this a couple months back. And 22% say they expect to forego payments on some of their bills. The savings rate in the United States fell to 6.5% in March, from a recent high of 8.8 in 2012. Almost half of Americans, 47%, said that they would rely on credit cards or take a loan from family or friends if they missed a paycheck. Now, I don't like to ask people for loans at all. If we can't afford something and we don't have cash for it, we just go without it. There's no credit cards, none of that shit's gonna fly in my place. And nearly a fifth of consumers would rely on a payday, auto, or another short-term loan. Oh man, and you're getting fucking taken to the bank, let me tell you, if you do that. You're talking about a 600% interest rate on these loans. And it gets you trapped in a cycle that is very, very difficult to get out of. I've seen lots of people do it. I would never do it. But I've seen lots of people do it, and every time I talk to them, they're talking about having to go pay these motherfuckers. So, A similar 2016 Go Banking rates survey found that 69% of Americans had less than $1,000 in total savings, and 34% had no savings at all. Right? If you don't want to consider gold and silver and some other things savings, then I don't either. Honestly, I'm not Alex Jones or one of these guys on here trying to sell you guys a bunch of products. I have products that I like, but I keep that to myself. That's my preference. I'm not going to try to sell you a bunch of shit that you may or may not need. You know what you need, and you know where to find it. I have fiddled with the idea of t-shirts because a couple of people have asked about it, but other than that, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just giving you my opinion and sometimes a forecast, a long-term forecast as to what to expect. Mostly I get it right, but sometimes I get it wrong too. But less than $1,000 in total savings. 39% had no savings. That means many Americans would have to put an emergency expense on a credit card or borrow money. So there's that. And it's not only affecting this whole economy collapsing in slow motion, it's not only affecting regular working class people. Over here at Zero Hedge, we have an article, Why Are Parking Lots Full of Mercedes SUVs? All Eyes on the U.S. Truck Market. If the rich were doing all that well themselves, there wouldn't be parking lots full of Mercedes SUVs. And it's not just Mercedes, it's all these luxury car companies. They're getting hit hard too. But the shift in automotive production towards trucks, including minivans, CUVs, SUVs, and pickups, is at the very heart of the bull case for autos. People, remember, Ford stopped producing cars and switched their focus to work grade type trucks, F-250s and whatnot, among other types. But this just goes to show, even the rich people who would normally buy vehicles like Mercedes SUVs, even they're not spending their money on shit like this. That should tell you something. That should tell you something right there. Of course, Mercedes downplays the significance of this, but I'm going to go ahead and hit their statement here. Mercedes released a statement about it to CBS 42 Thursday, saying it stems from the production of new Mercedes GLE, which began in late 2018. In quotes, it's a challenge we are working to jointly master with both our existing and new suppliers. As a result, we are using a number of locations in the plant and off-site locations nearby for the storage of those vehicles as temporary storage for our vehicles. There's more to it than that, of course. We have seen worrisome stockpiling images like this before, and this stockpiling is going on all over the place. There's a Ford dealership on my way to pick my wife up, and it's crammed full of trucks. You can barely put anything else in there. Crammed full. And they are putting other vehicles off-site as well. So, I believe that is referred to as channel stuffing. So it's not only affecting the working class, the slave class, it's also affecting the professional class. And we go over here, and I know it's hard a leap from one topic to another, but this will too have serious implications on our economy and food supply. So it is relevant to the overall topic. What is causing extremely bizarre weather patterns to hammer the middle of the U.S. over and over again? Some people think that the weather is being controlled by certain entities. Others think it's climate change that's causing the strange weather. Others think that there's a star system, or part of our star system, actually. We have a binary that's the second star with its own set of planets and moons orbiting it, interacting with our neck of the woods. And it could be. I'm not sure, I'm not there, but regardless of what it is or why it's happening. And it's going to cause some serious hardship here this summer and beyond. Remember, Texas was flooded. The soil there was contaminated. Do you really want to eat anything that grows in Texas as a result of that? At least in that part? I don't. The middle of the country has never seen anything quite like this. As 2019 began, the central portion of the nation was relentlessly hammered by bitter cold and massive snowstorms, and many were hoping for better things once spring arrived. But then, in March, the flooding began, and if it hadn't stopped since, in fact, this is already the longest we have seen flooding along the Mississippi River since 1927, and there is no end in sight. And people were warned many months ago that it was going to be like this, by the way. Why did they stay around? By the time it is all said and done, all the old records will probably be completely shattered. Meanwhile, powerful storms continue to pound the heartland every few days. Over the weekend, huge storms struck the middle of the country on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and more are expected on Monday. So, what's causing such extremely bizarre weather to happen? Is there a reason why weather patterns have shifted so dramatically, or is it all of this just a really, really, really strange coincidence? And you know how I feel about coincidence, people. There's no such thing. Nobody can possibly claim that what we are witnessing is normal. According to the NOAA, the last year has been the wettest 12-month period in recorded history for the lower 48 states. The continental United States just recorded its wettest 12 months month period to our in recorded history, while also moving one step closer to being drought free, according to Noah. So they had droughts, and now the very opposite is happening. Floods. One extreme to the other. Isn't that strange? Needless to say, all this wet weather has caused a tremendous amount of flooding. And at this point, this is the longest lasting Mississippi River flood since 1927, as they said above. The Mississippi River went above flood stage there on February 17th and has remained in flood ever since. The National Weather Service said this is the longest continuous stretch above flood stage since 1927 at Vicksburg. So all the people that are being affected by this weather, you can throw them into the people that are fucked. How can they collect paychecks if they're unable to go to work? How can farmers distribute their grains if they can't plant? So we have a rude awakening coming very, very soon, and I hope all of you are prepared for it. I really do. Because it's going to be ugly. And ugly for many reasons. Not just the poverty, the disease, the hunger, the rats and fucking cockroaches and everything nasty you can think of. Yep. And if you live in a city, you're going to be right in the epicenter of it all. So I hope you're all prepared. Anyway, till next time, kill the state, live free.